Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the No More Excuses podcast. I'm your host, Justin Kindred. So today, I've decided to go in here to the 36th District Court here in Detroit, Michigan. I'm going to sit here in a couple of public hearings, listen to what's going on in the city, what's dealing with the public. As you saw today, I'm worried more so about thinking as well as behavior, right? And in this thinking and behavior is to see what other people are doing wrong, right? Growing up, my aunt and uncle used to always tell me, hey, learn from other people's mistakes. Make sure you don't make the mistakes that other people make. That way you can progress and move forward in life and do better. So here, we're gonna do that, see what's going on, and then we'll be back to give you some tips later. All right, so pretty much these these cases were good. I sat into two different judges, right, that presided over many different types of cases. We had we had cases from DVs, probationary hearings, home invasions, B&Es. There was a SA case, kind of an armed robbery case, a lot of aggravated assaults, and I can say for the most part that these judges were very fair. They were very fair, and they were compassionate at times. They were hard at times, and I really truly believe that it was a case by case, depending on who the individual was, whether they had a history, whether they were going to be pose a threat for the community, for the people, right? And I one of them I got to speak. One of the judges I actually got a chance to speak to afterwards. They were kind of done with majority of the dockets for the day, for the morning, that is, and he was very transparent. And I think he was very happy and excited, especially being there because I was kind of just still sitting there. Majority of all the people that were physically present were gone. The last of his dockets were Zoom. So he kind of kept looking my way, and then when that was done for the dockets for the morning, he kind of asked, like, did I miss you, sir? And I'm like, no, I'm don't have a case. I'm just sitting in for the day. He's like, oh, we have some citizens that still, crow watch, and I guess crow watch means citizens that actually comes and sit in on the public hearings without having anything to do with it, without having a case or having a relative or someone close that they're affiliated or associated with to sit in these hearings, right? So, he asked a couple of questions, asked about what I learned, and I say the biggest thing that I will learn is that the biases that we see about the justice system in some cases or certain places, or how we see things over social media or over YouTube or over internet, that is very different, right? You don't get the full transparency from some of these judges that you may see over the internet or over social media. So I would say that actually sitting there and, just like, the judge even said, like, hey, I don't know these people. I just, with the evidence that's given and with the prosecution giving their side and the defense giving their side, is that he or she is just doing the best of their abilities with the information that's given, right? And like I say, it was very fair. There were some cases where if the complainant wasn't being cooperative to the police or wasn't being cooperative to the with the prosecutor, is that the defense would ask for a dismissal of the trial or a pretrial of the case. So the judge would be all right, and he would dismiss the trial, right? If the person who's making the complaint and is pressing for these charges, if they're not being cooperative, if they're not answering phone calls, returning calls, or not even showing up, that, hey, there's no point in proceeding with this case. There's no point in consistently using our taxpayer dollars in order to pursue this case, especially if there's no relevant evidence, right? And then there were other cases where they did have relative evidence, and maybe the complaint didn't show up, or maybe the prosecutor attorneys having a difficult time contacted these people, so the judge may show leniency and give the prosecutor attorney a little bit more time in order to contact these people. So it may sound like, oh, why would he do that, right? They didn't show up, it should be automatic. No, there are cases where some people they could have been in the hospital, they could have had any type of circumstance that they couldn't be there, right? So they would just press for a later date, maybe 1 to 2 weeks, right? And the caveat to it, though, is that the judge makes it known, though, that, hey, I'm giving you this time. I'm giving the prosecutor, this time, right, to get in touch with your person or people or your witnesses or whomever, right, the complainant. However, in doing so, that they still need to show up for the final hearing of the pretrial, because all of this is most of these things are pretrial, right? So the judge makes it known as an order. If you're basically, he doesn't make it known, but I'm pretty sure you can kind of assume that if your complaint does not show up, and most of the time he would, depending on the individual, if they would have to show up physically or if they would have to show up over Zoom, depending on the circumstances, is that if the complaint doesn't show up, then there's no sense in proceeding to a trial. It doesn't even matter how much evidence you have. If the complaint is not cooperating, right, then how we the people, which is the prosecutor attorney, who's the representation of the people, right, who's pressing these charges on the defendant, how can we proceed with a trial if the main person who's making a complaint about the situation isn't showing up? So they were lenient about that, right? We had there were other heavy criminal cases, right? One of the judges, they had a case where the attorney that was representing the defendant, I'm sorry, the alleged, right? The defense attorney that was representing the alleged suspect or individual in the case, one of them, they asked for a competency test. So pretty much that, because the way the individual was maybe replying or how they were being interactive within the court, or even with the defense or even the prosecutor, is that they have to make it known whether they are fully understanding or able to function within understanding where they are, what's going on, right? And this guy, as you heard, you could kind of gauge that he somewhat did not understand his situation. He did not understand that he was being prosecuted. So the relevancy of a competency test is to see if this individual is really faking or if they are able to proceed in this, right? So even the people that was on my side, right, even the public or people, there was a lot of different type of characters, a lot of different types of people, and it kind of shows that you just don't know what you're gonna get, right? You just don't know who's gonna come, who's gonna represent. There were witnesses, you just didn't know, and it was I enjoyed it. It was a real big eye opener on understanding how our justice system functions, understanding how the prosecutor and defense interacts, how people, when they're going through these situations, whether it be criminal, probation, civil, whatever it may be, how these people interact on a day-to-day life, right? And you even heard some stories of how the position or these cases, how it affect people on a personal level, right? Many people have very close emotional ties to these situations, and you could just see it. I saw a few people get off on some things, and it was, you saw the expression like they're like, yeah, yeah, but that's in the court of public opinion, right? And what the public may see, my opinion could be, oh, that person did it or that person didn't do it. But whatever it may be, for my opinion, it really doesn't matter in that case, because if the person got judged and whatever the judge that's presiding over the case decides to do, that's just what it is, right? You can have your personal perspective on whatever it may be, but the judge is there to make, the prosecutor and defense is there to make their valid points, and the judge is there to use that information and to consciously and transparently make a decision on what they're given. So, yeah, yeah. Oh, hold on, getting the call. All right, sorry about that. So pretty much, I think everybody, you should go sit in on a public hearing. I recommend it 100%. Everything's public. You can literally go and look at the dockets for the day. They may not show everything, but they show most of everything. Show a lot of things. You can go in, make sure you're presentable. They give you the key policy, dress code policy. They give you the policy for your cell phone, all the rules and regulation for when you go in the hearings. I should say you should at least read and be privy. Everybody should really go to get an understanding on your city laws, state laws, federal laws, whatever it may be, whether it's a felony, a misdemeanor, or just a simple probation or traffic violation or citation. It was a lot of good information. And just by listening and understanding, leave your emotions at the door. Go in there, to learn something, because I learned a lot. And the judge that I was talking to afterwards, he I guess you call it an interrogation, but not really. He was really nice, really, really, really nice. Very, very knowledgeable, as well as the prosecutor and the public defender that was there. Get to know your people. Get to know what judges are presiding over in your neighborhood, in your state, is very important. Show your face. Go down, get acclimated, get very acquainted with who you vote for and who you voted in, because they are here to do a public service to you. And like I said, I went down to the 36th District Court. A lot of people, a lot of things happened today. And there's a lot of different public hearings. If you don't like one judge, go to the next. You can go sit in any public hearing in there. And it was a lot of great information. So this, I would say, learning from other people's mistakes, this is a first. This is a first step in doing that, right? Here, the No More Excuses, we literally talk about personal growth. We talk about accountability. We talk about morals, values, your image. All of these things play a part in influencing you and becoming the person that you want to become, right? If you want to be a lazy piece of shit, be a lazy piece of shit. Just procrastinate, be nothing. That's on you. It's all at your fingertips. All this stuff that's public information is public for a reason, right? It's for to let you know what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. So don't be in the wrong, be in the right. So yeah, like I said, the learn from other people's mistakes. That is my takeaway. That's my takeaway that I want to give. That I want you to take away from what I'm saying right now. So yeah, but until next time, I'll let you know. I'm gonna make this a norm to start going to more public hearings, go and sit in, talk to more judges, talk to more prosecutors, more defendants. These people are everyday people just like you and I. They just have a job to do. That's it. And it's up to them to make sure that they have all the information to make the best decision. So, yeah. But until next time, remember, don't make the excuse.